But by positioning this war over this long period of time, you're also acknowledging that the war, a war that we also perceive in its first phases as having been overwhelmingly about Israel, but that today we perceive as having much less to do with Israel, whether it does or not. But you wed together two eras of conflict that Americans also, I think, see in the past have seen rather differently. But so how does the traditional struggle over Israel and the current struggle over ISIS and Al Qaeda and contemporary terrorism, how do these two things match up?
I think that the tendency to think that U.S. military policy has been driven by concerns about Israel is vastly overstated. Let's cite a specific example. One of the earliest U.S. military interventions in the region post-1980, when I begin my story, was Ronald Reagan sending peacekeepers to Lebanon. Well, we sent peacekeepers to Lebanon by no means to help the state of Israel. We sent peacekeepers to Lebanon in response to an ill-advised and reckless Israeli invasion of southern Lebanon that had helped to create a civil war, led to vast suffering on the part of the Lebanese. Ronald Reagan imagined, falsely, foolishly, imagined that the presence of a reinforced Marine battalion was going to somehow bring an end to the violence. Instead, all he ended up doing was basically making those Marines targets, and we lost 241 in a single day. So Israel's part of the story. Israel's an important part of our politics, but U.S. policy in the region, particularly military policy, has not been driven by concern for Israel. It's been driven initially, this war began as a war for oil. Jimmy Carter promulgated the Carter Doctrine in 1980, which designated the Persian Gulf a vital U.S. national security interest in layperson's terms, now a place that we would fight for. That declaration initiated the process of militarizing U.S. policy more broadly in the region. But I think crucially, from the very outset, the stakes went beyond simply oil. I think that in a very fundamental sense, this has been a war to sustain the proposition that the United States is a nation which need not admit or accept limits, that we are the indispensable nation, that American exceptionalism is a fundamental reality or truth that shapes our behavior. Events in the region have tended to suggest that maybe there are some limits, maybe we aren't exceptional, maybe we don't call the tune around the world, and we've been pushing back against those realities for now going on 4 decades.